It's good to see you. And before we start, I do want to thank C-SPAN for being here today. This is their first coverage of our policy summit, and so we are very grateful to them. Alan Davidson, administrator of NTIA, the man who is given all the easy jobs.
The fun ones.
So AI, spectrum strategy, historic levels of federal funding to connect every American.
Everyone. No pressure.
No pressure. Getting maps right across the country. But you've been out front on the emerging education and discussions and policy on AI. Talk to us a little bit about how you see NTIA, the role, where the discussion is, and how do we capture all of the tremendous benefits that are possible while at the same time minimizing the risk and looking at possible guardrails to come in the right way?
It's a great question. First of all, let me say thank you for having me here. It's great to see you. Thank you for your continued leadership and NCOMPAS's leadership. You've got a great team here, and it's always a pleasure to join this conference and the lineup you always bring together. So thank you. We get to work on a lot of big projects, and I think they all fit under the theme of how do we make sure technology is working for people. And there's no better example of that right now than the debate we're having about AI and machine learning. And our strong belief, I think this administration's strong belief, is that responsible AI innovation is going to bring tremendous benefits to people. And I know you've already talked about this today. Congratulations on the center that you all are launching. And I think we strongly see literally like every corner of our economy is going to be touched by this technology. And if we do it right, it's going to be massively beneficial to us. But we also know we're only going to achieve that promise if we address the very real risks that exist, and not just far in the future, not just speculative risks, but risks today that we know exist, risks to people's privacy, to their security and safety, the risk of bias in some of these systems, the impacts on the labor market. We need to think about those things and be addressing them if we're going to create the runway for innovation. And that's what I think all of this work, this fierce sense of urgency you see in the administration around this, is around the idea that if we put the right kind of guardrails in place, we create space for innovation.
Well, this morning we did announce the formation, the creation of a new center within NCOMPAS. We have some tremendous advisors on that have agreed to join our board. Leaders like Mignon Clyburn, Milo Medine, Colin Crowell, the president of the University of Arizona. And we want to expand that and have regional hubs of university and workforce, both the research and curriculums, to train the workforce to enjoy all the benefits of AI. We believe that NCOMPAS is somewhat unique. We have both the large internet tech content application AI leaders, as well as all of the diverse competitive infrastructure of every platform and technology. How do we best work with NTIA as you look at what is the best approach to maximize the benefit, minimize the risk?
Well, that's a great question. I think there will be a whole series of touch points here. And I think what you've seen, I think generally, as I said, is a fierce sense of urgency about the moment, right? And so this administration has really leaned in to that moment. It started with the commitments we got from large AI providers, which I think were an important step. The executive order that we put out on artificial intelligence, the president's executive order on artificial intelligence, is probably one of the most comprehensive executive orders in recent memory. And I think the most ambitious thing that we've seen any government on the planet do around this topic. And there are going to be, I think, almost every agency within this federal government is called on to engage on this project. At NTIA, we're trying to do our part. We've got a big project on AI accountability and auditing. We got a big homework assignment on the openness of AI, which would be, by the way, a perfect place for NCOMPAS to engage. So I'll just say there are going to be a lot of touch points along the way. And the biggest thing we need is to get smarter and be well informed by the people who are actually building and deploying these systems, which is why it's so great to be here, to have your leadership, to have your membership engaged. And I just say generally, we really need people's input on these very hard problems. And I think you're seeing a whole of government approach to addressing and making sure we get those guardrails in place and think about risks, but we're also making sure that we're promoting innovation, and we want that innovation to happen here in America and in the West, and we need to promote it.
Very well communicated. And one of those hard challenges is the role, the leadership NTIA has.
Right.
And
it's a mouthful. I'm just working on my mom on this one, so.
It has in coordinating all of the federal agencies around spectrum and spectrum use and spectrum management. And how can AI actually possibly make spectrum sharing and spectrum use and federal use better, more efficient, and that you can optimize the limited resource that we have in our spectrum?
It's a great example of the ways that we may be able to use technology to really help us with some of the big problems we have. And spectrum, as you mentioned, it's a tough topic because it's a scarce national resource. It's one of our most valuable resources. It touches everything. We don't have enough low-hanging fruit of spectrum to make available for all the things that we would like to use it for. And AI can help here. And in fact, we just released the National Spectrum Strategy this fall. We talked about the need to leverage new technology to make our spectrum usage more efficient. And I think you're going to see a lot of work to be done there. Some big examples. I think, there's theory that, we could really use machine learning to be more intelligent about how we do spectrum usage and spectrum sharing. So I think there's a big project about how spectrum sharing happens and whether AI can help there. There's a big project around a lot of the way we deploy wireless networks. Power management is another great example that I've heard about, where people are learning about power consumption and usage patterns and whether you can power things that, towers down or equipment down as a way to save a lot of energy. And at a time when we're worried about climate change and energy efficiency is huge. We're doing a project in our laboratory out in Boulder, the Institute for Telecommunication Science, on audio and video quality. So this is using AI to help us understand, when is a call getting garbled? When is that video conference losing its quality? And then can you put more network resources into that? If you could detect it automatically, if you could use AI to help you, you could very quickly, in the new networks we're building, adjust. And so and these are just a few examples, right? So I think there are going to be a lot of ways that we can use these new tools on some of the big problems we have to work on.
As you talk about the spectrum strategy, and you just watched the video from our broadband.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It was beautiful.
Mignon did a great job. But we've also been running a campaign on the 12 gigahertz band, 12.2 to 12.7. The FCC has opened up proceedings on both that and then the next band, 12.7 to 13.2. As you know, we've been struggling to get auction authority, and the pipeline for spectrum is somewhat limited. We believe the 12.2 to 12.7 can be shared with and have dual use without harmful interference. And we think that the current FCC proceeding, which is looking at the question, can you do fixed wireless with the 12.2, 12.7? And it is such, or fixed wireless has really the improvements in the technology and the capacity, and the market adoption of fixed wireless is really booming right now. I don't know if you can comment on the 12.2 to 12.7 of what it can do to help close the digital divide, especially as the BEAD money comes into the marketplace. If you want to encourage the FCC to move quickly,
well, I think it's hard to it's hard to comment on an ongoing proceeding, so I'll leave that one. Yeah. But I will say just generally two things. One is your point about spectrum and how, we really need to be moving forward and thinking about how we do better with what we've got. Because the truth is, as I said, this is a national treasure. We need it for all of the, when you look at so much of the world today is powered by mobility, by the use of spectrum, whether it's the mobile phones that we love or also, the fixed wireless offerings that are now powering people's use of the internet in their homes, satellite communications, which are increasingly important, and the research we're doing with our NOAA satellites across aviation, war fighting, our need for spectrum is only increasing. That was the idea behind the spectrum strategy, is that our need is increasing, but it remains a scarce resource, and the low-hanging fruit is long gone, right? There are no easy bands to repurpose now. Everything is being used. So we need to be really smart about how we're more efficient about usage and where we can find opportunities like the ones you're talking about to be smart about how we use it. And so we've got a national spectrum strategy that we put out in the fall. We've got a new implementation plan that's coming soon that talks about how we're going to do all the homework assignments that were in that strategy. And, I think we're optimistic about how technology is going to help us here. And it's not just on spectrum, but as you said, also in our deployment of broadband. We're very aware of how, these new offerings in the market are really capturing people's imagination, and they've got to be part of our planning.
Well, as we have further conversations this afternoon on workforce training, and even in our panel this morning on AI, one thing that struck me is almost everyone on the panel said that AI represents a real game changer in being able to give new educational opportunities, new individualized training and education to people everywhere, no matter their income or location, and that AI can really be a significant new force in training and education. Any comments, and I'll talk a little bit about workforce and the BEAD deployments and the shortage of fiber and other infrastructure technicians that we need. But what do you see on AI and workforce?
But the AI workforce point is really interesting. So, I do think AI is going to make a huge difference in education, but we have been thinking a lot about the workforce issues. And let me tell a quick story. I was visiting Miami, and I wanted to go visit Miami-Dade College, which is really like one of the terrific, it started as a community college system, now it's a broader college system. It's a massive, I think they call themselves probably one of the largest college systems in the country, over 100,000 matriculated students. And the team said, you really need to go visit the AI lab there. And I was kind of thinking, well, what is it really like a lot of cutting edge AI? I hadn't heard about Miami-Dade. And they said, it's just totally different. And I went to visit, and they're doing something really interesting and creative there, which is, their thing is, we're not a university. We're not training PhDs here. This isn't about creating the PhD workforce for AI of the future. And by the way, that does need to happen. But their theory is, what they said to me is, every small business in this country is going to need somebody who knows how to use ChatGPT, or other large language models, who knows how to use the tools that are out there, right? And for that small business, we want to train that workforce. We want to train those millions of people who are going to be in every small business in this country using AI. And it's brilliant, right? And so they have certificate programs, they have 6-month programs, they have a 2-year degree program, you get a 4-year degree. So they're thinking at all levels of how do we train the workforce that's actually going to use these tools everywhere. And that's what I think is we've got to really think about. It's not, we need both the cutting edge, researchers who are going to make sure we're at the forefront of AI innovation. We also need to really lean into this opportunity to make sure that we've got a workforce of AI users and AI workers who are going to help all the small businesses and medium-sized businesses and large businesses actually fulfill the potential of this revolution.
3 years ago, you came and joined us for a dinner with our board and a lot of guests and member companies. And we talked about both the historic funding that is coming, but also the challenges of deployment and permitting. The state plans are now coming out.
Yeah.
Are you on schedule? And just talk to everybody kind of the comprehensive efforts that you've been doing both on best practices, on permitting, on state plans, on mapping, and where you see
Got 2 minutes,
yeah,
go. Right.
and where you see things going this year.
It's a big year. It's a big year. First of all, it's a historic opportunity. It's a historic mission. And I think everybody at NTIA, everybody in the federal government feels it right now, right? Like that we have this chance, and it's our one chance. We don't think we're going to get tens of billions of dollars again. And we have this really incredible mission to connect everyone, I keep saying everyone, to reliable, affordable, high-speed internet service. So that's huge. 2023, massive milestones for us went through. We talked a lot about mapping. We did the allocations to every state. Every state got their initial plans in the door, which was a huge. I was worried about whether they would actually make their deadlines, and every state did. Every state now has a digital equity plan that they've submitted to NTIA. Huge progress. 2024 is really where the rubber hits the road. 2024 is a huge year in these programs. We've got state challenge processes going to make sure that we get the maps right for what's actually going to be deployed. And then states are going to do their grant making. So every state knows how much money it's getting. And in this year, in 2024, they're going to start doing the actual grant making. And that's a very big deal. 19 states have over $1 billion, right? So this making sure that we're supporting the states, that they're doing well. We need everybody on board to help make sure that this money is getting spent properly where it needs to go. Like I said, we've got one shot at this, so we really need to make sure we're getting it right, and it's an all hands on deck moment.
You know, it's a huge undertaking.
Right.
42.5 billion. Then the affordability, the ACP, that we hope we can get extended and funded. But it was a huge, not only historic level of funding, but it was a completely new way of allocating and administering to the states this investment commitment to connect every American. Has it worked? Is it working?
I think, look, the proof is to come.
Yeah.
But so far, it's working well.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, we've been really pleased with the progress that we've seen from states. They've taken this mission to heart. They've built out broadband offices. They've submitted their plans. We know there are giant challenges ahead, and you alluded to some of them, and we're working with the states on them. So to some of the big things, you mentioned permitting. We know that's going to be a huge challenge, and we don't want to be in a place where we give out grants, states do the grant making, and then like you have to wait 18 months to get your permits done. We're doing everything we can, for example, to help invest in that, to accelerate that, where the federal government has control on environmental, historical permitting, to make sure our processes are as streamlined as possible. Something I learned maybe first here at an NCOMPAS conference when I started 2 years ago about the challenges there. There's workforce challenges, there are other challenges. The only other thing that I would say is it's not just about what we call the BEAD program, our state grant program. That's the big money, but there's a lot of other things that we're doing along the way. Our middle mile program, huge force multiplier, huge success so far. We're very bullish about that. I was just out in Osage County, just yesterday. I was out in Oklahoma, and I visited Osage Nation, which is a recipient of a $40 million grant to we're building, it's middle mile, it's also connecting directly 3,000 homes on tribal lands there for Osage Nation. And it's amazing to see, we did a groundbreaking, it's kind of wonderful. That's money that's out there right now, networks that are being built right now. So we're not waiting for the state programs either, we're out there. And when you talk about a program like the Tribal Connectivity Program, you're really talking about addressing some of the biggest inequities in our society, long-standing inequities. Osage Nations, of course, that's featured in the movie Killers of the Flower Moon. For them to see this kind of progress from where we were 100 years ago to now, a place where we are working together to build a better future for that community. It's moving, it's important, and it's a piece of this landscape too.
Is this the best job you've ever had?
It is an honor to serve. I mean, it comes with its frustrations. There are moments, and our team, I will say, we have a team of folks who really believe in what they're doing and who feel the moment. And it's not just, it's what we're doing on Spectrum, it's what we're doing on AI and internet policy. And it is this moment that we have around connecting everybody in this country. And so, these moments don't come along that often, as we know, in life and in public service. And so I think we feel it like this is like building the interstate highway system or connecting everybody with electricity or water. This is our generation's big infrastructure moment. And we feel so fortunate to be working on it and to be working with all of you and with you, Chip, because this is an all hands on deck moment. And I do think we're going to make huge progress in the years to come if we work on it together. So I feel like, yes, I am very lucky to have this job, and I'm incredibly lucky to have the team of hardworking public servants that we've got who are all working together on fulfilling this.
Well, I want to, on behalf of NCOMPAS, our board, all of our member companies, all of the communities and states where we're serving and building, we want to thank you because this is a tremendous undertaking. It is transformational, and you've been a joy to work with. Your door is always open. You listen, you respond. Your staff is great. You have a wonderful team, and we really think we can see the progress and the foundation in place. Now we still have to have that final step of execution, and I couldn't think of a better team to work with or a better leader, and so thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you all.